I'm Beth Ann.
What's up? I'm Ayla.
This is Let's Talk BL, Boys Love Podcast.
Welcome back to the podcast. It is Sunday, Series Sunday, that day of the week where we talk all things one series and one series only. And buckle up, because if you noticed from the title, this is an oldie, but indeed a goodie. And here's the thing. So Series Sunday was coming. No series have ended recently. We were like, what do we do? Anytime this happens, we're like, let's go to the archives. And we thought, let's try one more time. So we actually have tried to do this Series Sunday. We tried to do this Series Sunday in season 1 of the podcast.
Right.
And we recorded it 3 times.
So many times.
I'm pretty sure we recorded it 3 times. And I don't remember why, but we were just like unhappy with the result. This was back in season 1 when we were like, we were very concerned about every little thing that we said, and we were like we just weren't confident in our podcasting skills. Yeah, like we just weren't confident in what we were doing. We weren't comfortable in what we were doing, and so like we were talking about, we were like, what was so wrong with it? Like, why did we? And neither of us can remember.
I think it did it go really long?
I genuinely don't remember. I'm pretty sure I still have the old recordings somewhere, because we like looked at them and we were like, no. We were like this, and I think it's because we went off on tangents. Like, Lord knows that ship has sailed.
I know, and I want to know what replaced it. Did like
so many things, because we tried so many times.
Because back in the day, we were ahead of the game because there were so many series that we hadn't done, so we hadn't
done anything, so we had just like a
plethora,
a backlog.
So we had like 3 or 4 series Sundays that we would do at a time. And
right, yeah, we would sit down and we would record like 5 series Sundays in a row.
And so, I mean, I really, really love this show. And so, yeah, I can't remember why, because like we were both really excited to do it.
We both love this show. We both have like different opinions about this show, but they're both positive.
Yeah,
but, like,
I don't know.
I genuinely cannot remember why.
You do really need to go back and figure out like how long the episode was, or like
what our I bet there's like a text message thread somewhere where we discuss like all of the
maybe
like why
there has to be, because like we were living in different places at the time when we recorded this. I'm really curious.
I think also we did get into a lot of the intricacies of like the way that they confront a lot of the details in this series having to do with like
the BL
being
industry.
gay and the BL industry, right? Like what goes on with Jean's dad and everything, right?
Listen,
and so I think maybe we just got nervous. We were gonna like say,
this series walked so that War of Y could run. I remember my brain being blown when this came out and being like, oh my God, they're doing commentary on the BL industry. Nothing like this has ever been done before.
Listen, there are a lot of things to talk about with this show, but we finally, season 4, are gonna get into it. Let's go.
It came out in February of 2021. Feels like 1,000 years ago. In BL time, that is literally like 50 years ago.
Yeah.
It's unedited on YouTube. I don't know why I wrote that. So this is
was this like early days when like uncut was like becoming a thing?
I don't know why. I guess. It has 11 episodes, with 12 being the special.
Okay, the special episode was a highlight of my life.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. It stars as Nubsib, Cow, and as Jean, Up.
Oh my God, you have so many. So we're using the original notes, like from when we tried to record this back in season 1.
Back when we like made really detailed notes.
Really
I was, like,
detailed. It's like incredibly detailed.
This was the first BL for Up, who also appeared in Korean variety shows and commercials, but has mostly been studying and getting his doctorate in political science. Cow is mostly known for Until We Meet Again, coupled with Earth, also part of Boyfriends.
If you haven't watched Boyfriends, by the way, just like I'm not quite sure how you YouTube it. Just search like War Wanna Rock Boyfriends.
Yeah,
that'll do it, because
like
War was in it.
Any of the actors, so like Golf and War and Tommy and
Great
and
Tatcha, of course Cow. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Boyfriends was fantastic. The first Boyfriends, because then there was Be My Boyfriend, which was like a whole just separate thing. Yeah. Anyways, Boyfriends was great. I appreciate there's a boyfriend shout out.
Boyfriends.
Shout out.
I mean, we got Missing Baby from Boyfriends.
We did.
So
which if you haven't,
iconic.
if you have not discovered the bop that is Missing Baby, War Wanara, and Golf, truly a masterpiece.
So good.
Okay, synopsis time.
I don't know where I got the synopsis. I imagine my drama list.
My drama list, probably. Okay,
Sure.
Here we go. Gene is a professional writer whose publisher suggests he try writing a different and new genre, boy love. Accepting the challenge, he writes a YA novel that is both acclaimed and commercially successful. So successful, in fact, that it gets adapted into a BL drama. When looking for actors to said series, Gene is invited to auditions and gets asked if his opinion on certain actors for the main role of his newly adapted series. He is not really concerned about any of the actors until he meets Nubsib, who right away from the start shows his affection to Gene. Will Gene accept Nubsib's love? What will it lead to?
I'm truly obsessed with this show.
This show is great. Okay.
It's so good.
First thing, let's talk about Gene and Nubsib.
Wait, should we follow our guides that we used to do back in season 1?
No.
3 points. Plot, favorite scenes.
But these would just be yours.
Right. I just did like an overview of like what the plot was. We have the audition scene. Sib moves in. Gene discovers their connection. A is a whole mess. Family confrontation. Show conflict. Conference table. Time jump resolution ending. That was the whole show.
That is the whole show. Okay, I'm going to go straight to Gene discovers their connection because still to this day, this is a part of the show that frustrates me. This is like I only have, this might be my only beef with this show.
Okay.
Otherwise, I think the show is perfect. This is like a 9 out of 10, one small note.
Yeah.
Which is that Nubsib is like a pretty unique name.
Right.
Nubsib is like a really unique name, even in Thailand, okay? And like the fact that Gene just like doesn't realize this was a childhood like boy that he was like low key in love with, and they had like dragons, like dragon love. They had like dragon tails, but like make it like young love. Like the fact that he's like, oh shit, that was you is insane to me. It is absolutely absurd, and I have beef with that.
Yeah, I also had beef with the idea that like, yeah, you didn't know what your childhood friend looked like, because I went to elementary school different from where I went to middle and high school. Like my elementary school didn't feed into my middle and high school. And so in college, I then ran into people that I went to elementary school with, but I literally ran into them in college, like on the sidewalk, not like through anything that would give context to them. And I was like, oh my God, it's Logan. And like, so I definitely recognize people that I went to elementary school with at this age.
Genuinely, at this age, I would probably not I probably wouldn't recognize half the people I went to high school with. I definitely trauma blocked a lot of high school out.
But like in college, because you're still pretty young, right?
That's what I'm saying. In college, I definitely wouldn't have recognized most of the people I went to high school with because I trauma blocked most of that out. And especially elementary school. Like I did move around a lot. Like I wouldn't recognize people, but it's the name.
The name was huge.
The name is weird to me because he's like, oh, that was you? What? They have the same name. At the very least, you would be like, hey, crazy story. You have the same name as a kid I knew when I was like, you know what I mean? Like at the very least, that's my beef.
And he was so mad about it. I did not understand why he got so mad that like Nubsib didn't tell him from the beginning. Like he's your long lost friend who you were obviously like had a little thing for. And so like, don't be dramatic, bro.
But also like, I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. That's my only.
And they still live next to each other.
Right.
Like, did they not run into each other at all?
That's my only.
Ever?
That's my like only beef with this show was like that plot point. Otherwise, I thought this show was really, really solid. I still to this day reference this show when I talk about like how well done the drunk scene is. like this was one of, so it's gotten relatively common in like I would say 2023 BLs of like when one of the boys is drunk, the other one doesn't act on it, the other one just like puts him to bed and like moves on. But like pre 2023 that didn't really happen.
No.
Pre 2023 they would hook up and like the other boy would be like, it would be a whole thing. In fact, there's literally a whole show about this called Make It Right. Like literally there's a whole show about this plot, right? Like
although the new thing in BLs is one is drunk and kisses the other one, and like they're like no, so the like drunk one initiates the thing,
right? But then they still are like yeah. The drunk one is the initiator, and that's always how it's been, that the drunk one is the initiator, but always like pre 2023 they would like go ahead and hook up. Because, like, it was rare that the one that wasn't drunk was, like, initiating things. It was always the drunk one initiating things. The, like, the issue was them, like, actually hooking up. And in Lovely Writer, it was one of the first shows where, like, of course, Nubsib, being, like, the perfect, sweet angel baby that he is, was like, no, let me just, like, hug you until you fall asleep.
I know, when they cuddled on the floor.
Oh, my God. When he's like, can you just hug me? Oh, my God.
The answers, Oh, fantastic. Also, going back to episode 1, shout out to the Count and Turbo cameo.
Yes, and they're like famous. This show is the reason that genuinely, first, like, for some reason, just like in my brain, Count and Turbo are the most famous BL boys in the world. Like, and I know that like logically that's not true, but because this show is literally the reason that, like, to me, Count and Turbo are like they're like the BL boys. They're like the famous couple.
It's true.
And it's because of this show.
Here's my question. Tell us in the comments when you came into BL, because I feel like this is what it is. When you came into BL, whoever was at like
their peak. Yeah.
And so like that's who you think from then on are like the shit,
so famous,
right? Like, if you came in during like Don't Say No, Jaw First, or like top of the top. If you came in now, I feel like it would be like Pavel and Pooh.
No, I mean, no, I feel like if you came in now, you're probably coming like it's like probably like
Dao
a Z
Off-Road.
Nunu. You mean like today?
Like today, because even Z Nunu, like if you're just scrolling the timeline, like Z Nunu are doing so many paid side appearances.
Yeah,
they're
probably
not, like,
probably Dao and Off-Road because Pavel and Pooh, like Pit Babe, I am the #1 Pit Babe enthusiast, by the way. I am a Pit Babe pusher.
And
Pavel and Pooh haven't quite like attained
true.
that level of like. That's just in this household because I'm a Pit Babe pusher.
Yeah, me too.
I from the beginning was a Pit Babe pusher. I literally sat everybody down and I was like, watch this show right now. Let me tell you why this show is great. So like I get it, but no, I think probably like a Dao Off-Road maybe, or like one of the GMM TV ships. I feel like that.
I mean, GMM TV boys are always super poppin' and famous, but I guess it revolves like who's the top.
Right, who's the most famous,
But anyways, tell us. I'm so curious because, Count and Turbo.
Because of this show.
We were like,
I had never
they are the BL couple.
I had never seen Count and Turbo in anything before.
They weren't in anything yet.
I knew Counta from Tarn Type, but I had never like seen Count and Turbo in anything. And in Lovely Writer, there's a whole scene in the audition that like Count and Turbo have shown up to audition for this show. The Count and Turbo, and like made this huge big deal about Count and Turbo, and
because
like
Count and Turbo were truly like some of the first like shipped boys that hadn't had a show. They did a show, but it never came out.
Right.
And then they became popular because of their ship. And like they didn't have a show until Love Stage, which was like 3 or 4 years after the fact that they became like a shipped couple.
Well, no, not 3 or 4 years, because it would have been like 2.5 years, because Love Stage came out last year.
No, but their little umbrella show was like pre-Tarn Type. Like it was like 2019 or 2018. Like it was pretty long time ago. Cause Tarn Type 1 was like 2019. Like 10 million years ago. Which is wild.
But
I'll have to look that up.
Basically, yeah, episode 1 with the Count and Turbo is definitely why when I met Count and Turbo, I went completely brain dead and I just like couldn't speak to them and I just had a really hard time. And then I saw them perform and I like had a physical reaction to them and it gave Count too much power. In retrospect, I gave Count far too much power. Anyways, yeah, that's a fun little bit. This show's fantastic. I really love the plot point of them having to move in together for like writing purposes.
Yes,
like,
obviously.
how do I get that deal, right? Like, how do I figure out how to just like make like? Because honestly, that's
he didn't move in because of writing purposes. He moved in because the agency that Cal then became a part of didn't have enough dorm space, and so Jean, who was the friend of Cal's manager, was like, I have an actor who needs a room. Can he live with you? And that's why they moved in together. Because he needed a space. That's literally it. But we come to find out that Nubsib orchestrated the whole thing.
Orchestrated the whole thing because he's in love with Jean.
He wanted to be to be in Jean.
I also think that the whole setup of them like kissing is really because that was for writing purposes.
Cal being like,
I need to kiss you.
I need to rehearse my scene.
Yeah, that was for like professional purposes. Like, how do I get that gig? Of like, it's not like it's for professional purposes.
I want to know if this was like based on if they took stories from people in the industry that they like really knew of.
Well, but like this is based on a novel, so this is like written by somebody who's not in the BL industry.
Oh, I assumed she was.
No.
Because potentially, like, that's a thing that she just, like, pulled from random, like, things that she had heard of. Because she does appear in the final episode, right? And that, I remember people's mind being blown by the final episode.
Yeah, but no, she's just... She's
just a writer.
She's like a meme. Like,
yeah. But May is,
but this was her
fully
first novel. May wasn't when, like, Turn Time got made.
Yeah, true.
That's, like, now, but, like, no.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely, obviously, there are elements of, like, things that we see and know as fans. Of, like, for example, like, Oi, who, like, sweet Oi, who's obviously based on art. Which is fascinating.
I wonder
like,
if...
obviously, right? Like, it's obvious.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. And, like, now everybody's, like, cool, chill with art. So, like, it's fine. I'm into it.
The peak... I came into BL, like, the peak of, like, that drama. Like, coming down from that drama.
Right.
Because Tarn Type got so famous... Everything that Mew had done up until that point became like the talk of the town. And so as soon as you got into BL, you immediately knew that drama.
Yeah, I like heard, I didn't really hear about it, but like I knew that like we didn't like art. Like we as a fandom, like a collective.
And I still don't know why. Because we've talked about this multiple times and we're like, I mean, like, yeah, sure, he in theory outed him.
Mew.
But also... Technically, he was sexually assaulted.
He was the one that was, like he was the one that was assaulted, and he was like speaking his truth.
And they just literally settled the lawsuit like last year. Like Mew and Art took a little selfie together, and it's all cool.
So, like, are you out? Like,
I have so many questions.
I don't know, but so also, oh my God! Shout out to this is where we get a cameo. Oh my God, you didn't. I'm like shook that you didn't write it down. You write like back in the day. Okay, but Uli's whole story was
with
crazy.
Chap.
Yes, because we get like a little Chap cameo of like Chap Green, and like it's truly a cameo.
Green
but
is also in there too.
It should have been a full story.
Yeah,
like it's wild to me that it's not a full story because when those two kiss like in the road, I was like
insane.
Oh my God.
That was an interesting little like aside because there was no side couple in this. I will say manager boy and girl, Tuffy and Tum. Yes. I guess they're kind of the side couple. I do love the whole time Tuffy is like, you are gay. She's like, you look like you should be gay, and he's like, I'm not gay.
Yeah,
like the whole show.
I think she's amazing. She's probably my favorite character.
Yeah.
Well, she's my second favorite character in the whole show. My first favorite character in the whole show is actually Jean's brother, played by Poppy.
I know.
This is what made me love Poppy, and I loved Poppy from the beginning.
I did not remember him in the show.
This is not what made me love Poppy. I loved Poppy from Why Are You?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I saw Poppy in Why Are You, and I loved Poppy in Why Are You, and so then whenever I saw that he was Jean's brother in this, I was like, oh my God, because I love him. And he is the best character in this show. First of all, he's like, you guys are obviously in love. Like, he's just like so chill about it. He's like, you guys are obviously in love.
I know, the brothers are really sweet in this.
He has a whole day drinking vibe. Like, it's a whole joke about how he sits around and day drinks, which I think is so funny and like such a mood. And then also there's this whole conversation at the dinner table, which I thought was like super fun. So Jean goes home amidst all of like this drama with Nubsib about like are we in love, whatever, this, that, and the other.
Yes.
And like he's like, do I like a man? Chop shy? Like whatever, chop shy? Right? Like he's like freaking like, do I like boys? Like freaking out. So he goes home and he sits down at the dinner table with his family, and they're talking about his novel, which is a BL novel. Right. And I can't remember if his mom or his dad, but one of them is like...
The moms are going back and forth about how this is the trend and how they're like, this is really popular.
The scene I'm talking about, there's not multiple moms. The scene I'm talking about is just in his house. It's his mom, his dad, and his brother. They're like in the house, and one of them is like, oh, but who's the wife? And then they have a whole conversation where Jean gets to say like, well, there is no wife. Like, that's not how BL works. Like, that's not... Yeah. Right? Like... And I just thought, like, I was like, this is like a revolutionary conversation in BL, because it was at the time. Yeah. And it, like, low-key still is a little bit.
I feel like it got better after Bad Buddy, because there was that whole Bad Buddy thing where, like, P-Off did the whole, do you want to be the wife? Like, nod. And that was finally when the conversation really picked up, and people were like, okay, we need to stop categorizing these boys into, like, husband and wife.
But, like... Yeah, there was a whole conversation. Yeah, because Nubsib isn't around during this.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the dinner where they've gone home, and the first time that you see them, it's because they're all together, and it's the moms, both parents, and then Nubsib and Jean, and it's the moment where they're trying to figure out if they should tell the parents that they're dating, and both of the brothers are there.
Jean goes home before that.
Okay.
Jean goes home before that because he's like trying to figure out like
how he feels,
what's happening.
Okay.
Because this is also when we get the reveal that his dad had like a thing with a man.
We don't find out that until after they come out as dating.
And like his mom is like shook and his dad is like crying in the closet, and it's like a very intense scene.
Well, because there's this whole thing where there's a revelation. But it's also wild that like Jean is like, you dated a man before, Mom. Like the fact that that's common knowledge.
No.
I rewatched the scene today. So they have dinner, and he's like, they're all joking about the fact that Jean has written this YA novel, and they're like, wouldn't it be funny if the Sib's dad is like, it would be weird if these two were in a relationship. And that's when Jean is like, we aren't, what would you say if we are in a relationship? And then the dads freak out. The moms are like, but it's the trend. It's what the boys are doing these days. And that's when they go inside, and that's when Jean's dad is like, this is not okay. I am not okay with this. And Jean is like, but we all know that you were with a man in a relationship with a man before, Mom. And that's when Poppy's character is like, I'm really disappointed in you, Dad.
Yeah,
because like that whole moment.
Jean's brother is the best. Also, he plots with Sib's brother to like bring them back together.
It's very cute.
There's a whole plot.
Also, Sib's brother hella gay. Like that man gay.
There's a whole plot. I'm not here to judge anybody's sexuality. All I'm saying is there's a whole plot of like they were very cute. They go behind their backs to like try to plot to get them back together, and I think it's really cute. And I just think that his character is the best character in the show, followed closely by sweet. Tuffy.
Yeah.
Tuffy's also an excellent character. She's the second best character in the show.
Poppy is a really great brother. Both brothers are really great in this because, they're both, like, fully supportive.
Yeah.
When the parents are, like, freaking out, which is, like, BL 2 years ago.
I really like his character. I mean, BL now even sometimes.
Yeah.
You don't always get like a supportive
parent.
Yeah.
It's gotten better. Like, I feel like back in this time, the parents were always very much like, no.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Other points of this show, the side characters were really fun in this show. We've talked a little bit about Tiffy and Tum. Tum was adorable. Sweet
Ken
before he became
First
a
time I met
prostitute.
Ken before Ken was a prostitute in
Also, I
Superstar.
love this was ahead of its time in the part where the agent, I think she's an agent or an editor. I don't know who she is, but I think she's Gene's editor for his BL novels. And she's like, we need more NC scenes. She's like, the NC scene sells. And he's like, I don't feel comfortable.
But he's also like, I don't know how to write an NC scene.
And that's when he has to go home and watch the porn.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because she's like, I need more NC scenes. And, but we've seen the more NC scenes in the series these days.
Yeah. I can't remember if it was the special episode or if it was in the regular episodes of the series where, like, at one point, Gene thinks that Sib has taken, like a male enhancement pill.
Yes.
And that scene is hilarious. And I remember watching the behind the scenes for that, and apparently it was very like physically tolling. Like it was very like because they're like running around the room and like jumping on the bed and like yeah. This show is amazing because it's got a lot of like very good comedic timing, but it also has some serious moments, and it like calls certain aspects of the BL world out without it feeling like uncomfortable or without like it's like, hey, you should maybe think twice about this. Listen, here's what I'll say about the ending. I liked it.
I did too. People were so, I'm like, y'all, these are characters.
It can be what you want it to be, right? Like there are so many ways to interpret it.
Yeah.
Like the way I interpreted it when I watched it was that like essentially this girl has seen these two boys having dinner together or lunch together and has like made up a whole scenario about how they met and how they fell in love.
Now
and like
kiss.
I think that's fun. Like I think that's fun and fresh and cute. But like the nice thing about this special episode, which is like kind of spooky but also not spooky and carries on the sort of like comedic tradition of this show.
Yeah.
Is that like it's clearly not fake, right? Like is that, and so it's like it's a very fun, almost like choose your adventure moment of like, you can make this scene what you want it to be as a viewer. Yeah. It can mean the whole thing was fake. It can mean it can mean like they're kicking down the fourth wall and like she's actually a part of the production and she knows about all this stuff, right? Like it can mean whatever you as the viewer wants it to mean. And like, I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like the ending too. I remember people being really upset by it and I was like,
yeah, I remember people being like, I was tricked, right? Like a lot of people felt like it was like a trick.
I'm like, y'all, it's a show. It's how somebody wrote a show. If you don't like the ending, write your own ending. Like, I don't understand.
But also, you can literally just ignore it. Like, listen, we all ignore the final episode of Make Our Days Count. That episode didn't happen.
It's so true.
So, like, listen, if you don't like it, it didn't happen. That's the nice thing about shows is, like, you can fully just ignore certain aspects of them if you want because it's fiction.
I do remember this was, like, early days when you had started watching BL, and this show is very heavily Thai and very heavily sound effects. Oh my God,
the sound effects do still to this day drive me a little nutty.
Because I remember your husband being like, they're just, why are there so many sound effects? Because didn't he try to watch it with you?
It's so annoying. Yeah, I will say the sound effects are a little over the top. But the more I think about it, the more I think they did that on purpose because they were trying to like low-key make fun of BL.
I think so too.
Yeah.
It's so funny. When you were reading the synopsis, I was like, I wonder if this was kind of the story about Up's life where he was like not getting famous in Thailand. So he was like, I don't know, let's try to kiss a boy. Because he like did the Korean thing and like everyone in Thailand always talks about the fact that like Up looks like a Korean celebrity. That was like the big thing. And now but he wasn't becoming famous in Thailand. And so other than that like viral thing he did with First Canapan.
Right.
But he did the Korean thing and then he came back and I guess he was like, he got together with his manager who he went to university with. Was like, hey, maybe I should.
And they now own a company together.
Yeah. So like life imitating art.
So like it worked, but like did it work though? I'm just saying. Did it work?
Have you rewatched this?
I have not rewatched it, no.
I've rewatched it a few times. When we were preparing for this series Sunday, because I don't remember series very well, I was babysitting, and so I like quickly rewatched like the key episodes that I needed to, the like heavy moments that I needed to remember. But I rewatched this a lot when it first came out, and I
have not rewatched this, but I would.
This. It has really good dialogue. I feel like that sometimes, especially early days BL, the dialogue was a little missing.
Well, because they do a really good job with his inner monologues.
Yeah.
Like the way that they layer over Jean's inner monologues that are happening.
That's
like
so interesting.
Because a lot of times, like, it's, like the scene when they first kiss, he's like kissing him and like getting like inspiration to write the scene, right? To like write, talking about the NC scenes, right? Where he's like, there's a part where he says something about like, my whole body froze as if I was trying to like process it or something like that, right? And like, I like the way that they layered it over. It was obvious what was happening, which isn't always the case. Like, they just did a really good job with, I think, a lot of the like monologues. 'Cause there's a lot of monologuing in this show.
Yeah. Overall, this is an excellent show. Shout out. I can't, you know what? Up is about to do another BL.
He is. You know what? He is with friend of the podcast, Portia. And it brings me a lot of joy.
Me too.
I was tickled.
I'm so excited. Also, Cal has disappeared from BL life, which I find very interesting.
Yeah, where's Cal?
He's doing a licorne with golf. I feel like Cal and Golf banded together. we're gonna just do soap operas now.
That's cute.
Yeah, I don't think he's done anything else. I should probably look that up.
Well, they did their little like Cow and Up were doing their like vlogs for a while.
Cow and Up killed the ship work. I was obsessed with Cow Up. They did this little, because this was like kind of in the midst of like another COVID lockdown for Thailand, because they kind of came out and came back in and came back and came back in, and they did this concert, this online concert, and I remember seeing clips from it, and I was like, oh my god, I just so distinctly remember. I think Up was in overalls, and you know how I feel about overalls, and they like sang to each other, and it was a whole thing.
Wow.
Cow and Up, man, they were the moment.
Wow.
Not anymore.
No. Yeah, I can't wait to watch Up's new show with Portia.
Me too.
There's other people in it too, but like Portia.
Aichi, I don't even know what the synopsis is.
Yeah, it's an Aichi original.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating. I'm gonna watch it.
What else is an Aichi original?
There's a lot of Aichi like original programming in the same way that like Netflix, it's like a Netflix original program.
Right.
But like this one is like Aichi like produced and like funded and like backed, I guess. Because I think that D Hub House / Just Ups do have some control over this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
D Hub House is a production company out of Thailand that I have really enjoyed all of their productions. I haven't finished I Feel You Linger in the Air. But they were also attached. Oh gosh, I just literally just saw. What else have they done? But I feel like they have a very specific like. Oh, they're gonna do the new Yin War.
Yeah. D Hub House is doing Joker and Jack and Joker. It's Joker and Jack in my heart because war is always first. Thank you.
It really should have been War Yin, but that doesn't really sound right.
No, it also does not make sense. Trust me. No. It's definitely Yin War.
Oh, fantastic. Anyways, any other notes?
Yeah, I see. Honestly, we answered the question of would you rewatch it? The answer is yes.
Yes.
The second question we've been answering lately is would you recommend this to a first timer?
Ooh, yeah, 100%.
I don't know if I would, only because I would be worried it was like a little too, like with the sound effects and with the like drama and the plot, like it's just a bit much. I would be concerned that people would be like, ooh, BL isn't for me because of, you know what I mean?
I will say they explain a lot of the BL terminology in the first episode, because they have Nungnarong comes in and they're a ship. Like they explain like shipping, they explain like the audition stuff, they explain a lot of BL culture stuff in the first episode, which I think is interesting.
But that's why I don't think that's why I wouldn't call it a beginner BL. I would call it like an intermediate BL, because like when I think of like, okay, a show I recommend to a first timer to like hook them, right, to get them into the genre, I don't know that this would do it, because I think it's just a little like with the sound effects and the like it's very heavily tropey, but on purpose, right? That's on purpose. And with the ending and right, like with all of that, like you have to like kind of already be committed to BL.
True.
In my opinion.
Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe like a third or fourth.
Yeah, that's
not your very
this is
first.
like an intermediate. I would call this like an intermediate watch, not a beginner watch.
I just forgot how much I love Lovely Writer. Also, there's some really great edits on YouTube for Lovely Writer.
Yeah. So I mean, the best edits on YouTube are, of course, for Never Let Me Go.
Yes. And on that note, this is in Let's Talk BL. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow all things Let's Talk BL at Let's Talk BL.